Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to give you a behind the scenes tour of Atlas, our truck camper. I'll show you all of the things that we love about it, the nooks, the crannies, show you the quirks, show you the things and the modifications that we've made to it to work for us. But yeah, we're a family of four, two adults, two kids, and two dogs. And for the next 15 months, we're going to be traveling in Atlas, the truck camper. So we wanted to give you a behind the scenes tour of our home. So stay tuned and let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. All right, so starting off with the outside, I figured this was probably the best way to kind of kick off the video. Starting with the truck, we have a Ford F350 dually. It's the Lariat trim, meaning it's got some nice and fancy upgrades on the inside, but absolute beast of a truck. And then of course, for the truck camper itself, we are looking at a Host Mammoth 2023 version. It's 11 feet and 6 inches long and has about 180 square feet. It's got 3 slide outs. It's got a queen size bed, but we'll show you all the good stuff when we go inside in a second. Before moving on to the sides and giving you a 360 view of the truck camper, let's take a look at this. This was one of the best decisions we made for this road trip. We brought along our e-bikes. And so to do that, we had to install a front hitch receiver. And then loaded to that, we have the Hollywood Rack e-bike bike rack. And this can carry 2 e-bikes that are weighted up to 80 pounds. So absolute beast of a hitch. And this was one of the best decisions that we made to bring our e-bikes along with us on this trip. But starting from the driver's side, just looking here, you can see the bedroom and we have a window there. This is our first slide out right here. And this is looking into the dinette, and so you have double windows there. But what's also interesting is on this part of the slide out, this is where the toilet and the bathroom sink are. So that sits in the slide out. So well, maybe not so cool part about that, I should say, is that means that you have the black tank, which empties out into this compartment right here. And this, you have the black tank flush, of course, but the issue that I have with this is it's so high up. So I'm about 6 feet and this is parked kind of in a pretty standard place. Like this is what like a typical campground might look like for us. And it's really high up off the ground. So just one of the issues that I have with it, and I have some step stools that I need to use from occasion if it's really high up or if we have to like lift the truck to level things off. But just one of the things that I have a gripe with, but I understand why the black tank release is here. If it wasn't for the fact that it's in the slide out, then it could probably be here. But anyways, I won't go on further. I spent a lot of time talking about that. All right, and then this is the output for the propane heater. So the hot air comes out of there as it gives us heat on the inside. And then let's see, just kind of looking at all the nooks and crannies. This is an access point to be able to get to the slide outs in case there's a mechanical failure. So thankfully, and fingers crossed, knock on wood, but we haven't had to actually really make use of that. But that's where you would get into the controls in case one of the slide outs was having an issue. We went with the torque lift tie downs with the fast guns to be able to hold the truck camper to the frame of the truck. So I'll show you in a clip here in a second, but essentially this part connects to this, therefore the truck won't actually slide out of the bed of the truck. Okay, moving on, you'll see this is our first compartment. Inside here we have enough space to put in a Honda 2200 generator, and there's in addition to that a ton of storage, so we throw in our power cords and just other camping supplies in there. But on the top left, you have the release valve for the gray water tank, which actually comes out to right down there. And then we have an outdoor outlet, and we have the controls for the electronic jacks, coax input for the cable, and yeah, just tons of storage. But yeah, this is actually one of the things that we love is the outdoor shower. So this is great when the kids get dirty or our feet are dirty. We don't want to track mud or sand into the camper, but we also, as you can see, have the hot water option over there, which is great. And then this is the input for our 30 amp electrical connection in case we plug into the grid or into the shore power. And then we have the sewer hose compartment, the holding area. And I think that's pretty much it on this side. Not a very sexy thing, but just something I will point out. We do have upgrades for the suspension. We went with the torque lift upper stable loads and the torque lift lower stable loads. And might be difficult to see here, but we've also installed these upgraded rear sway bars by Hellwig to give us a better ride, a safer ride. All right, so now let's look at the back. I'll kind of come far out first so you can see everything. So tall window, storage, propane storage, another window there which is sitting right above a couch, a ladder to be able to get you to the top. And yeah, let's kind of take a look. Start from the left and move to the right. In this storage, we keep our leveling blocks, and we have some bear spray when we get to bear country and just other storage. So nothing really exciting about that. I'll have to put this down here, but this might be kind of cool to see anyway. This is the garage, and I love this feature. Love this. I guess it's called the More Ride garage slide out. And we can just fit so much stuff. I think the bed of this is about 6 feet. And we went with an upgraded lithium battery option. And if we didn't have that, we'd have even more space. But they had to kind of cut the space out a little bit because they needed space for the 2 large batteries in the back. So anyways, this is where we store a bunch of stuff. There's a light here. There's another power plug here. And this is where we connect our Starlink to. Then you can see a bunch of the other just kind of the inner guts of the truck camper, water pump and the water pipes and electrical and propane wiring and piping and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's really nice to be able to have an access point to this in case anything starts to break down or fail. And then in our propane storage compartment, we have 2 15-gallon propane tanks. And we also got this wired to be able to use for a outside grill. So you have this pre-plumbing here, connect the propane tank, goes down through this little hole right there, and then you can grill outside and use your propane tanks without having to take them on or off. I think I mentioned already, but yes, this is the second slide out. And then our last slide out right there is where the kitchen's going to be. But starting with the front entry door, you got another window there, and then you got this window in the kitchen, and then over here you have the other side of the bedroom, more windows, which is awesome. And then you have the outdoor, well, you have the water heater, which this is where the hot air comes out for heating the water. And this is a huge upgrade we went with. It's the Truma AquaGo, and this gives us basically on-demand hot water. So such a convenient thing to have, especially when you pull into a site and you just like need hot water real quick, or you want a hot shower. Anyways, moving on. We also have the awning slide out. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm gonna put the camera down, but before I do that, I guess I'll point out that we have the 3 control switches over here for the awnings, driver, rear, and the passenger. And we also have this entry light, which controls the light right there so that you have light as soon as you enter. And then this is going to control the awning. So I'm going to put the camera down here, and you know what I'll do is I'll even show you what kind of the process of bringing in one of the slide out looks like. I'll just do it for the rear slide out. Super fast, super nice. Can't imagine having to do this manually the way they used to with truck campers and RVs and whatnot. But yep, so we got the rear slide out there, And then, oh yeah, I was going to show the awning. So I'll position the camera right there. And then let's just go ahead and bring the awning up. Ta-da. So we honestly don't get as much use out of the awning as I thought we would, but nonetheless, it's still good to have on a hot day. It can, of course, provide some shading from the sun, but yeah, the only issue that we have with it is we get scared of the wind possibly breaking it. I've just seen too many stories of people's awnings just getting blown right off with a huge gust of wind. So once the wind starts to pick up, I get scared. Probably overthinking it, but I retract or bring it back in so that we don't have any failures with that. All right, so door, standard 2-door. You have the screen door in case you want to get some fresh air but don't want the bugs to go in, and then you have this slide out here to be able to go in and out, or to pass food or pass things without having to open the whole door. And then that can of course connect to the main door. And then you got the double locks there. But let's go ahead and move to the inside. So starting with, put my shoes down. I'm also going to take a quick sip of coffee. But okay, so starting with the entryway of where you would come in for the camper. This is the 4-foot couch, which converts into a bed. Now, this essentially has become the dog bed. So this is where we put the dogs when they need to sleep. We originally had Leah sleeping on here, but she kind of would eventually fall asleep here, but would wake up in the middle of the night and then move into the bed or the dinette. So, but yeah, it converts into a bed. Very quick, very easy. As I mentioned, I'm about 6 feet, so there's just no way I could fit on here, but for a child, it works. Let's go ahead and get that set back up. And then just kind of continuing with this side of the camper, you got the window looking out. So we looked at all the windows from the outside, but you can kind of see the view that you get. That's one of the things we love the most about this camper, is just how much lighting we get, how many windows we have especially when we're parked in a really beautiful spot. But with that said, with each window, we have these curtains. So you have the blackout shade, just gives a little bit of privacy and kind of blocks out some of the sunlight. But when you really just need to cut down on the light and you need privacy, you got the blackout shade right there. So honestly, it's so bright and sunny outside right now, but if I were to bring down every one of these shades, you'd see how dark it gets inside of here. So I think these things are very crucial. Also, given that we have 2 kids and they oftentimes need to take naps during the daytime, so pull these bad boys down and all of a sudden you actually have darkness even during the middle of the day. Like I said, this is gonna be a very in-depth tour, so I'm gonna show kind of all the things, all of the compartment areas that we have. Okay, so in the entranceway, you also have these 2 storage compartments here at the top. And then we have a fan up here, and this is a in and out fan. So you can have, when you're cooking, you get a little bit of cross airflow, you open this guy up, and then you can have air escaping and pulling the smoke from the cooking out of the camper. But if it's also hot out or hot inside here and you want to bring cool air in, you can turn this guy on and it'll bring cool air in. It's kind of like a little mini air conditioner. Okay, so looking from, and then below the couch, you have storage compartments right there. That's where I keep my books and my clothes. I keep it here so I can have quick access, so that in the morning times I can get changed real quickly and just have my books to be able to read if I ever want to. All right, so looking at the dinette set, this is, our full dinette right here. This also converts into a bed. I could fit on here at 6 feet, but barely fit there. My daughter, my wife fit here very comfortably, but if I have to sleep out here, it's a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit tight, but you know, we make it work. And I guess I can show how this converts into a bed. You can see how fast I can do that. All right, so to remove it, the table has, you know, you can configure this to arrange however you would like. This is kind of the way we normally would have it set up. I sit here, my wife sits there, and the two kids are trapped in there. Or if we need to separate the kids because they're fighting, I'll sit in the middle, two kids will sit here, and then my wife will sit on the outside, and then she can get in and out to grab food and grab stuff for the kids. But to convert this into a bed, it's as simple as taking this top part off. So it just kind of slips on right there. And then we pull off the arms for the table. Put that down there. And then the first thing is this platform, which sits below there. You put that on over there. You fish this cushion out. And then you put these two side pieces in. Picture. Move our other one there. And then you can put these guys over here or just move them out. But that's pretty much it. As I said, it's pretty fast and easy to do. Let me show you what it looks like when I sleep on here. Space is a premium. So when I'm on here, I have to remove these pillows or these cushions, put my pillow there, and then boom. So I don't quite feel I have to kind of spread out like that, but that's the way it works. And this is why for this trip, we have a tent, so that I actually end up doing a lot of tent camping, which I personally love to do. But just continuing with this side, we've also added this whiteboard and corkboard there. And then you have all these little puck lights that are on this side of the camper underneath the couch. And then you have two on the kitchen, one underneath the microwave and one underneath that storage cabinet. So finishing off this side, the only other thing to mention is this is where we keep all of our kids' toys. So on this trip, we're traveling very intentionally. We don't have a lot of kid toys. And in fact, we're just having the kids play outside using sticks and rocks and stones as sort of like their toys on this trip. This is the intake for the heat, the heater, the propane heater. And then, I'm sorry, this is not the intake. This is where the hot air comes out. That's where the intake is, and the air filter, and another one right there. So when the bed is set up, you can store some stuff down here. We tend to kind of use this to store stuff because there's a ton of plugs throughout the camper. But going back and looking at this side, so we have this little assistant table that pops up and pops down. So let me just set it down. Just go like this. But when you want to set it up, you just pull it up like that. It's really what's really great for us. But let's just continue to look at other facets of the kitchen area. So, sorry, let me, I will say Host has done a good job making this very efficient. So you have these parts that go on top to kind of make extra working space if you're not using the sink, that is. But we got these inserts here, but we've got a pretty large basin for our sink, which is really nice. So this allows us to be able to do dishes and prepare meals very easily. Our faucet is there. And then let's take a look at inside our storage where we keep our cups, our Tupperware, plates, bowls, all that kind of good stuff. So nothing too exciting, but that's the first storage area. Keeping in theme with that, we'll look down here, and this is where we have our rice cooker, our pressure cooker, pots and pans, and just more kitchen and cooking stuff. And then right above that is our utility drawer / where we keep our utensils, knives and forks, spoons, all that good stuff. And then here is our Thetford 2 top burner. This was also an upgrade, but we also like that when you put the cover down, you have more sink space and counter space. So love that. And then you got the windows, which we saw from the outside. And then the last pull-out drawer that I haven't shown you is here, and this is where we keep our trash, our plastic bags, and our soaps, and that's pretty much it. And then this is the controls for the hot water heater, or the water heater. So you just flip this guy up, and then you got hot water. And let's take a look at the refrigerator. Here's the refrigerator. We got all of our magnets from the places that we've visited in there, but yeah, we got a pretty large freezer, not packed to the brim, but we've got a good amount of stuff in there. And this is the Norcold. Don't have many other features or specs for it, but other than just to say that it works and we love it. And this is a look at the inside of our refrigerator. And then keeping up with this side of the camper, we have this pantry, which is awesome. There's just so much storage space in general in here, but this is where we store all of our food, all of our non-perishables, paper plates, our paper towels are down here, Ziploc bags, ramen, and some extra sparkling water, juice for the kids, rice, etc., etc. So tons and tons and tons of space. We have our smoke detector there, and then this is our one of our wardrobes here. This is where we keep the kids' clothes for the most part. We've got the this organizer right here, which works out really well, and then two more drawers down here. I think Natalie keeps some of her kind of like sporting gear down there, gloves for the kids. So yeah, just basically wardrobe-y type of stuff. All right, I'm gonna move back out this way, and looking towards this centerpiece now. This is very interesting because behind here is the bathroom, but on this panel here we have an electric heater, which is awesome. So when we're connected to shore power, we can use this, and it just has less condensation than propane heaters tend to make for the inside once you have the contrast of hot and cold. But absolutely love this, and it's got a cool like fire display on there, which the kids love to look at. And then okay, so these are some chargers, USB chargers, and then normally people put a TV here, but we've elected to put all of our patches for all of the places that we've visited. Not necessarily all in this truck camper, but we've got these patches here, and we're continuing them on up here, and we're just basically going to make it a goal to fill this up with as many patches as we can from our travels. Up here we have the control for the air conditioner. This is a Hofton, I believe it's a 13,500 BTU air conditioner unit. This is the remote control for the electric heater there. And then we have our digital thermometers with a couple of thermometers spaced out between various parts of the truck camper, so I can see what we're looking at. And right now we're sitting at 69.8 degrees in here, and the basement 65, and outside it's a beautiful day. Very nice weather and temperature. Okay, and then let's see, up in here you have access to the panel box. And this is where we have the panel box, and we have the controls to the solar. We have some lights that light up the outside, the porch light, area light, and awning light. And then we have our digital reader for our freshwater, black water, and our gray water tank. And then on this side, we have a reader for our inverter to show how much power is being drawn, and also how much is being charged to the battery. So right now the battery is at 100%. We have 360 amp hours, which is amazing. And we can see based off of this like how much it's charging. So well, right now, because it's at 100%, it's not actually really charging anything. It's got a controller on there, so it doesn't overcharge it. But if this were if the battery had any less than 100%, you would show that, because we have the 3 solar panels on top, that it's actually like really recharging it pretty quickly. All right, so I think that pretty much takes care of this. Light switches here. And then this is a look into the bathroom. So we have this awesome dry shower at 6 feet. You can see how I fit in here. It's pretty tight, but it works. What's great is it's not sitting above the toilet, but yep, that's our shower right there. And then over here we have our toilet, and then some spaces for the towel racks, and then medicine cabinet, and just tons and tons and tons of storage. So we're able to fit in all of our stuff in here. And then more towel racks that Adelie put in, and our trash. And then inside here, we just have storage. So we keep like baby wipes, diapers, Kleenex, toilet paper, toilet drops, all that kind of stuff. And I guess the last is the bedroom. So from, you know, the outside looking in, you have the 2 windows, which I pointed out. And you have these wardrobes here. Basically clothes are in there and a few other random things that we're storing. And then you got this queen-sized bed over here. And then you have this access point to the top to the roof, which is really nice, this escape door. Oh, below the bed, I don't know what the product's called, so I'll have to flash it up here on the screen in a second, but Adelie added these, which I think was ingenious on her part. This basically lifts the bed off of the ground, which gives a little bit more support and comfort, but more importantly, it's preventing condensation and mildew and just, mold from forming on the bottom of the beds, which often can happen in RVs. So that was a very big upgrade that I think was definitely worth every penny. So that pretty much takes a look at the inside. We do have a TV here in the bedroom. This is a way that we can sort of distract the kids if we need to cook and clean. But yeah, we have a TV here, and then we have a monitor over here when our son sleeps. So when we're not in the bedroom with him, we can just check up on him. And then this is I mentioned that already, the access to the roof. So that's pretty much a look at the inside of the truck camper, and really kind of covers just about everything in here. I guess I did want to show you the top of the roof real quick. So I'm gonna pause the camera real quick and take you up to the roof. All right, you guys, so this is the easiest way to get to the roof. There is the ladder on the outside, but I find it actually pretty hard to get onto that ladder because there's no point that connects to the ground. So it is bright. Let me set the tripod there. But this is a way we can get to the roof. Takes a little bit of nimbling around, but this is how I can get to the top of the truck camper. And let's just take a look. So there's the hatch right there, looking down towards the truck. We have 3 solar panels. I believe each one of these is 100 watts. So 1, 2, and 3. So we got the 300 watts. And then we got this, I guess, moonroof to the bathroom. This is the big AC unit, the top part. And this was the fan, the in and out fan that I was showing you earlier. Just a bunch of debris up here. You can see each one of the awnings each one of the slide outs has an awning to protect it from water and weather. And that's the bathroom bathroom vent that I haven't shown you. So yeah, this is a look at the top. Kind of cool to be up here, but honestly, I've only had to come up here to clean and just make sure that we don't have any cracks in the ceilings for where all the sealant is. So I think that's going to do it. Let's go back inside. One thing that I forgot to show earlier in the master bedroom was by each side there's some outlets to charge your phone or your electronics. And then you also have these reading lights over here, LED. There's also even a little a USB charger there. And then a little book rack. That's where we keep the kids' books as we read them kids' stories at night. And then you can see a bunch of sleeping bags and just other gear here. So yeah, just wanted to show that. All right, you guys, we hope you enjoyed today's tour of the truck camper. We hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes, the looks at just all of the facets that we have inside this truck camper. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them below and we'll be sure to respond to them. But until next time, take care. And be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, as it would greatly help us out. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.